Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
President Biden announced new actions against Russia as the invasion of Ukraine intensifies. And the weather. We had a significant amount of snow falling across Metro Detroit early this morning. Meteorologist Brandon Rue has been tracking the totals. How much did we get?
Well, we saw a lot of variation in those totals, Rhonda, with a certain area getting more, certainly a lot more than others. We're talking about the Livingston, Genesee County area where plenty of snow totals over 2 and 3 inches. 3.5 Howell, 3 inches Whitmore Lake. Flint, about 2.5. Howell's in there twice. These are unofficial because some of these came in at like 8:30 this morning and still were somewhat impressive. We are wrapping things up here for the most part. Just some fine flakes still flying on the east side. A dark strip here up in parts of Oakland County. So a pretty good clip. Central northern Oakland County heading to northern Macomb. But we're at 30 degrees, struggling temperature-wise. As soon as the moisture starts to, wane a little bit, we should see temperatures warm into the middle 30s. Can't rule out a little drizzle, maybe a few flakes, but for the most part, we've exhausted this system. If you are heading out and you need to know what's going on, the Local Forecasters app, greatest weapon and tool in the world when it comes to weather apps. That box in the middle of the screen, a QR code, you can hold the camera of your phone right up to it. It'll sync and link you right to the free Local Forecasters app. Rhonda?
All right, Brandon, thank you. President Biden announcing even more economic sanctions on Russia, calling for an end to normal trade relations. The president, along with G7 and European Union, will call for revoking most favored nation status for Russia. It includes a ban on the importation of Russian alcohol, of seafood, of diamonds. The announcement comes as Russian troops close in on the capital city of Ukraine. U.S. defense officials say that forces could encircle the city of Kyiv in just 1 to 2 weeks. President Biden says that today's announcement is just one part of new economic actions against Russia.
I also want to be clear, though. We will make sure Ukraine has weapons to defend against an invading Russian force. We will send money and food and aid to save the Ukrainian people. And I will welcome Ukrainian refugees. We should welcome them here with open arms if they need access. And we're going to provide more support for Ukraine. We're going to continue to stand together with our allies in Europe and send unmistakable message. We'll defend every single inch of NATO territory with the full might of the united and galvanized NATO.
As the war in Ukraine is well into its third week, and while fighting goes on and the death toll rises, the exodus of millions of Ukrainians continues. The UN says that more than 2 million people have already fled that war-torn country, and that figure is expected to climb each and every day. Many of the refugees are fleeing to Poland first, and that's where NBC's Jake Ray joins us. He's been there for the past week.
Well, as you can see, the Medyka border crossing is packed. This is the busiest border crossing in Poland. Families continuing to make the walk to safety. You can see the border is just behind us here. They walk through and get a hot meal, get some water, get supplies they need, toiletries. And this is a process that continues, and so does the growing crowds here, and they're going to continue. The UN now saying that they expect millions more to make this journey. They're doing what they can here, trying to protect these people, give them the safety that they're looking for, as well as the supplies that they need. Some of these people walking 2-3 days just to get here. They'll line up, be loaded onto a bus, and then taken to a train station and move to other parts of Poland. But those that run this crossing and others understand that these crowds are growing to a point where they're really stretching these areas, these volunteers, the donations to their limits, and there is concern about what's on the way. That's the latest from here along the Poland-Ukraine border. I'm Jay Gray. Back to you.
All right, Jay, thank you for the update. The war in Ukraine continues to have a ripple effect when it comes to gas prices here at home. Prices in Michigan have actually dropped, but only a penny from yesterday. However, prices are still $4.25 a gallon. That's an average price. if you're like me, everywhere you look, it's a little more than that. Across the country, prices are up 2 cents per gallon to $4.33. Gas Buddy predicts the increases may slow because the cost of oil dropped this week. So hopefully that'll trickle down to the pump where you are. A new survey from AAA found nearly 60% of Americans will make changes to their driving habits and their lifestyles to offset the increases. And those changes are happening already. Keep it right here with Local 4 and click on Detroit.com for the very latest updates on gas prices and, of course, the war in Ukraine. An investigation is underway after an officer with the Detroit Public Schools Community District dies. It happened yesterday on Detroit's west side in a neighborhood near a school. Let's go live to Priya Mann. What are you learning so far about what may have caused his death?
Yeah, Rhonda, let me set the scene here. That fight broke out just a block away from Henry Ford High School. While it's still under investigation at this point, officials do not believe it involved Detroit Public School students. Take a look at home security cameras. They were recording shortly after dismissal when a fight broke out in a neighborhood near the Henry Ford campus. Many of those unidentified people in that video are wearing backpacks. A DPSCD public safety officer was injured, rushed to the hospital in critical condition. He later passed away and has since been identified as Officer Frederick Wilson. The fight happened Thursday in the area of Evergreen and 8 Mile in northwest Detroit. The district says they don't have evidence that weapons were involved, and DPD says homicide investigators are now assisting in the investigation. In a statement, Superintendent Nikolai Vitti says the DPSCD board and superintendent are saddened by the sudden death of Officer Freddie Wilson. Officer Wilson devoted more than 20 years with the DPSCD. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the Wilson family. We are actively investigating the incident and request that everyone wait to pass judgment regarding the incident and his cause of death until an investigation is complete. It already appears as if misinformation is being reported. So again, at this time, officials do not believe DPSCD students were involved. I'm also told that the district is working very closely with this public safety officer's family. We'll have much more tonight at 5 o'clock. Reporting live at Henry Ford High School, I'm Priya Mann, Local 4.
All right, Priya, thank you. And new here at noon, Michigan health officials have updated the state's quarantine and isolation guidelines. The MDHHS says that to test 3 to 7 days after exposure or if symptoms develop. Any individual who tests positive for COVID-19 should isolate at home for 5 days. Anyone who tests positive without a negative test should continue to isolate regardless of vaccination status. For a full look at the updated guidelines, head to click on Detroit.com. A Wixom man is arrested for child abuse in connection with the death of a 4-year-old boy. According to police, the boy was found unconscious and suffered life-threatening injuries to the head and later died at the hospital. Police say that they arrested the caretaker at the home at the time of the incident. He has been charged with first-degree child abuse. According to court records, the man has previously been charged with criminal sexual conduct and domestic violence. The Detroit Fire Department says that the fire at a popular deli in Corktown was not an accident. Investigators say the fire at Mudgee's was intentionally set, outside of that building. It is now being investigated as arson. Fortunately, no one was hurt and there was only minor damage inside of the business. We're told that Mudgee's is open today, but only for takeout. Governor Whitmer signs 2 bipartisan bills that will strengthen public safety laws. The bills allow the parole board to deny parole for incarcerated individuals for up to 5 years. This ensures that survivors of crimes will not have to relive traumatizing experiences every year at parole hearings.
Every family in every community deserves to feel safe at home and in their communities. And keeping people safe is our first priority, whether it's from a deadly virus, which is what I've had to talk about mostly for the last 2 years, or it's from violent crime.
Governor Whitmer says that she also spoke with legislature to negotiate a balanced budget to provide relief from inflation. So we'll Look forward to hearing more on that outcome. A meeting is now underway right now in the city of Wayne, and it's all over discussing a water rate hike. Several communities in western Wayne County are fighting back against the Great Lakes Water Authority over a 3.7% hike in water rates beginning on July 1st. Those 18 communities feel that they are footing the bill for Highland Park's unpaid water bills over the last decade, which according to GLWA totals $52 million. Still to come, it is the start of spring break travel season. We're going to have an update on what you can expect while traveling.